in his headlights. He's done all he can. Hello guys and girls, and welcome back to the Racing Line for another round, another day, another Monday night's entertainment for all of you. I'm sure we'll see the viewers start ramping up as the night goes on, but it's early days as we come to the close of practice for round 2 of the Racing Line Touring Car Championship. Races 4, 5 and 6 on their way tonight. Christoph Plays is already in chat saying good evening to Mr. Johns and all the drivers. Nice to be around again, and it is good to see you as usual. I'm sure many more of you will jump in on chat, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube here with us on the Racing Line channel, or of course over on VCO eSports with our partners over there on YouTube and Twitch as well. Frederick Lejean is in chat, says, is it a fixed series? It is a fixed series. They are all running the sprint setup across all cars. There are 30 cars out there signed up as part of the championship. 10 Audis, 10 Hyundai Elantras and 10 Honda Civics. There are 10 teams, each with 3 drivers in, 1 car each in each team, if that makes sense. Of course, we can go through all of that information once again as we go through the evening. I am your commentator for today, Jack Johns, here at the Racing Line. I am the Racing Line and live steward for this season. Stephen Burns as well deserves a shout out. We are here at Okayama, the Japanese racetrack that everybody knows and loves. It's a free circuit on iRacing. Many people have raced here on this service as a result of that. Conditions are looking good. They've changed throughout the day, though, as the races are staggered. Let's have a look at what is going on out there, shall we, as we see a nice scenic cam. And it is Fabian Siegmann there at the top of practice so far with a 37.5. There's a massive 4/10 gap to Dan Mulder, Mark Draper there in second and third. The Team SRL boys looking to make a strong comeback after last time out. Look at those flags. I told you last time, guys, I love a flag, and there are plenty out there with the German driver up there currently fastest. We've got an American up there in the top 4. That's an Austrian there in P8. The Norwegian Mats Andersen there in P10. South African Duncan Murray is up there in P11. He'll be happy with that so far. Who else? We got Stephen Scheller as in there now, or Stefan Scheller. I still don't know which way round that is, but we'll swap between the two and hope that no one notices. In the Audi for Team Husingveld, the Icelandic driver. Erik Manentveld, the Dutch driver out there as well, also shows flashes of pace, although he's down in 22nd at the moment. And our second German driver is also down there, Jan Weiswanger, in 27th. And don't forget Corpus, Amundere and Lequay all running the Portuguese flags as well. Speaking of Corpus, let's have a look. He should be out there somewhere in the Lurchus gaming machine. There he is. That is our most recent new race winner here on the Racing Line Touring Car Championship, which is absolutely insane news as we get to the final 7 minutes of practice, and he lets Morgan Burkhardt, last year's champion, through there on the circuit. You'll see the number 1 on his car somewhere on the All Sports Hyundai. Let's have a look at the gap between these lap times to make a bit more sense. You can see from second downwards it's very close, but that time from Siegmann is actually a little bit insane. Maybe putting a bit of fear in everyone. In fact, I don't need the track map just yet, because we can go through. Should we go through the standings and have a little catch up from round 1, shall we? Whilst they are all practicing. In fact, let's have some scenic cams whilst we do that. So, the team's championship after 1 round and 3 races looks like, sorry, this. That'll do. So the championship standings are as follows. Street Casuals are leading the way with 219 points. That is after a driver scored a podium in every race last time out. We had Austin Farr, the only driver so far on the grid to have 2 podiums to his name, and Erik Manentveld taking the final podium as well, all for Street Casuals. That puts them in the lead of the team's championship. Husingveld had a bit of an up and down day, but even so, they've got 198 points and are there in P2. All Sports Racing, you could say, well, last year's champion had a bit of a nightmare as well, but Jake Cranston who's currently leading the championship standings, spoiler alert, is very much in a strong position for them. They are in P3 currently. Goldwing are there in P4, so they are doing well so far at the start of this season. Team SRL, they also had a bit of a nightmare with 159 points in P5, but as we saw, they've got a driver in second and third right now in practice, so they'll be looking to move on up that order as of round 2. Pulsar eSports were one driver down. That shouldn't be the case for the rest of the season. They will have all 3 drivers. Kieran Dempsey makes his debut for this season. He was obviously a driver last season, but a debut for the team this season. They're only 1 point behind SRL, so keep an eye on the Pulsar boys. Meatball Motorsports, Stephen Fry got a P2 in the last race out. They are in P7 currently overall as a team with 138 points. Just 4 points behind them are Team ORD. Lurchus Gaming have a race winner in their hands now with David Corpus, but they are there in P9. They also only ran 2 cars last week, and I think they're only running 2 cars this week. Alejandro Caraday can't make it, but he will be back for the rest of the season, I'm sure. Zero Forks Given, who are also running 2 drivers because Martin Wallace was at Daytona, are there in P10, but they'll be looking to move on up as well now that all 3 drivers are here. So it will get fairly close in those teams' championships. This is your drivers' standings. Jake Cranston leads the way for all sports with 108 points. Just 2 points behind is Stephen King there for Pulsar eSports, and Austin Farr, your 3rd place driver, all over the 100-point mark in 1 round. Jake Cranston unfortunately losing out one of his wins. He did score 2 wins, but one of them he got a post-race 5-second penalty for contact with Dan Mould, which ends up costing him one of his race wins and handing it to Stefan Scheller, who's in P4, a debutant here on the Racing Line Touring Car Championship and the Racing Line channel. We haven't seen Stefan Scheller before, but here he is in P4 in the standings with 94 points and his first race win for the first race of the season. I don't even know if he knows that, if he checks the penalty stuff, but there he goes. He got a win. It's not a real win because it wasn't on track, but it is technically a real win, and it does count to the stats because it was in the thing. So let's see if he can do it for real this time. He's looking quick. Arthur Thurtle there in P5 for Team SRL. Eric Manenfeld P6. David Corpus there P7 with that race win to his names. He's in the top 10. Matt Sanderson P8. Carl Ridley and Stephen Fry rounding off the top 10 with that P2 last time out as well. Next page, Sam Van Olst, Fabian Siegman, Morgan Burkhardt is in 13th, John Bailiff is in 14th, Duncan Murray, Yusuf Mindray, Steve Halwood, Roman Peshke, Ika Lequay and Dan Mould. Now there are a lot of big hitters in that second row of 10. I can't rule out Fabian, you can't rule out any of the Husingveld boys. Morgan Burkhardt, John Bailiff and Dan Mould are definitely out of position as well. So it's going to get fairly intense, I think, as people climb back up the order. And your final 10, Brandon Hughes, Dan Thornton, Henry Morse is out of position there. Mark Draper is out of position there. Joe Gibson even. Jan Weisfanger, James Parfit, Alejandro Caraday with 0 points. Martin Wallace and Kieran Dempsey, all 3 of them not there last week. They are here this week. Everyone apart from Alejandro Caraday should get some points and get them off the ground. How long is left? Okay, I've just got enough time. And you can kind of work this out amongst yourselves after I just went through the driver's standings. But let's have a look at the manufacturer standings. This is what it looks like per car. Your Honda standings are... I'm going to have to do this quick. Hang on a second. Let's try and rattle through these. Your Honda standings are... Cranston, King, Farr, Thurtle, Anderson, Murray, Peshke, Hughes, Weisfanger and Caraday. That's what it looks like for all the Hondas. In the Hyundais, this is the closest championship in manufacturers, I think, across the board. We've got Manenfeld, Corpus, Ridley, Fry, Sigmund, Burkhardt, Bailiff, Mould, Thornton and Wallace. Manenfeld currently leading that Hyundai championship. And the Audi manufacturer championship, Stefan Scheller leads the way. Quite a big gap down to Sam Van Olst. He's Munderay in the top 3 for the Audis. Steve Halwood, Ika Lequay, Henry Morse, Mark Draper, Joe Gibson, James Parfit and Kieran Dempsey rounding off your Audi 10 drivers. Right. Where are we at? David Corpus is still going round. Fabian Siegman is fastest, but he is in the pits. Burkhardt is in the pits. Who's on track? Mark Draper for Team SRL. Looking to start their GR86 league very soon. This Friday, actually, I think. I think they posted a link in the TRL Discord. So if you haven't joined the TRL Discord, do that. And you can see things like that from other people. Let's see if there's any shocks out there. I mean, there's field spread across the 29 drivers. It's a shame Caraday couldn't make it today. We would have seen the full grid today, actually, by the looks of it. We've got 29 drivers out there. But we look forward to seeing Caraday return. A near race winner last season. For those of you that enjoyed our new intro for this season, you would have seen his car go off at Zandvoort when he was in the lead of a race 3 race on the last lap. Morgan Burkhardt is now up into P2. 4 temps back, though still Siegman has put in an absolute blinder there. Kieran Dempsey on the circuit. He's got his white wheels on in the Pulsar Audi. Connor Mills' car last season. Stefan Scheller just behind John Bailiff, getting a bit of slipstream. The number 69 car. In the Audi is Stefan. Need to remember to ignore the flags on top of the car. He's got German flags on there, but an Icelandic driver. Hobby Raccoon in chat says, let's go ZFG. Mr. Morse not driving a JDM is the problem, says Christoph Plays. Good to see you in chat, guys and girls. Don't forget to keep those comments coming in, no matter where you're watching. I should be able to see all 4 channels' comments. So if you hear me talking to someone, I'm not talking to myself. I am seeing the comments from elsewhere as the pit lane gets extremely busy extremely quickly and all the drivers start coming out. Still focused on Stefan by the looks of it at the moment. Who's the lead car? We can have a look at that track map now. Who is the lead car? I think it's Jake Cranston is leading the way. He's got a fairly decent lead actually over the rest of them. This is what it looks like behind him with his carbon fibre wing. Got a Husingveld car behind him. Boom in chat says let's go ZFG. So Jake warming up his tyres. I think it's only fair. He's the lead car. Let's put some pressure on him and watch his first time, shall we? Well, this is an outlap, so we won't do that. The sections don't look good down there. So, Okayama, a track that many of us know. Do we have the same 12th becomes first for the next race policy? Christoph, good question. So, in terms of differences between Jetta Cup, which you followed with us before, and the RLTC, there are 3 races in the RLTC, not 2. So the Jetta Cup there was 2. In the RLTC we have 3 15-minute races instead. Race 1 after quali is qualifying order. Race 2, the top 6 get reversed. We'll have a short 5-minute break before race 3, and then in race 3 the top 12 get reversed. So yes, we still have that similar policy. Biggie Morello jumps in chat and says good evening lovely people with his usual monkey face. And on that note, the lap begins for Jake Cranston into turn 1, down through the gears, down to 2nd gear as he gets it chucked in nice and smooth. Misses the apex slightly, but I don't think it matters in these cars. They're front wheel drives, so it's all about carrying that speed. Big lift off in 3rd gear for that left-hander. Keeps it nice and tidy. It's nice and smooth actually. He's not really stressing out by the looks of it just yet. It's only his first lap. You could call this a banker lap as he gets hard on the brakes. This is an important corner. Look at the rear getting away from him there as he brakes down the hill. Just a little bit of slide, a little bit of oversteer on entry. So common in this Honda Civic as he now climbs up the hill towards the hairpin. The reason that corner is so important, it's your main overtaking opportunity. The better exit you can get, the more slipstream you can get, and you can absolutely send it into this tight hairpin. Look at this, anchors on the brakes, down to 1st gear, gets it turned in, holds it tight, gets over to the right hand side, and then you can sort of coast your way through this double left, gets on the power again. Oh, that was very close to the edge. A little bit unsettled through the middle of that corner, and then gets his foot back on the power. The M-Dog Show in Twitch chat says eyeballs emojis as we're... Oh, he broke on the grass there, did Cranston, down to 1st gear for the final hairpin. So the 2nd half of the lap looking scrappy for the all-sports driver as he now comes round the 3rd to last turn. I mean, this 2nd to last turn is barely a turn in normal cars. Is it going to be flat out? No. Big lift off, still in 3rd gear, up into 4th, back on the brakes, back down to 3rd, into the final turn. Fairly tidy. Looks like he's got a bit of understeer on the exit, nearly on the gravel. DRS board there, but obviously these cars don't have DRS, and he's going to be across the line. And what lap is it going to be? It should be valid. I don't think I saw it. Yeah, there we go. 1:39.2 based on practice. That will not be a pole lap. Dan Mould currently fastest with a 1:38.5 in the Hyundai for SRL. Morgan Burkhardt in the Hyundai also slots up into P2. Stefan Scheller in the Audi for Team Husingveld slots up into P3, 3/10 of a gap. But your man to beat right now is in fact Dan Mould for Team SRL TV there, who I did give a quick shout out for their GR86 league, which is starting soon. I think their TCR league is still going and their GT4 league has finished. They run a number of leagues and now they're getting some lovely free advertising here on the channel, of course. But a lovely bunch of guys, and I'm glad to have them on board. I'm sure John Brown is watching as well, so hello to John Brown if you're out there in chat. I'm sure we'll be rooting for the SRL boys to do a little bit better than they did last week. It was a little bit scrappy, but it always is on your first time in a new season in a new pool of drivers. Someone who went under the radar last time round. Let's have a look at these Goldwing boys, because they're up in P4 at the moment in the standings. Sam Van Olst had a bit of an up and down race last time out at Phillip Island, but he absolutely I think it was the last race, it was one of the races, he went from the back to near the front. That was absolutely insane, and he nearly done it in all 3 races actually. He pulled over in race 2, which is why he's then started in the back in race 3. You can see him there weaving, getting a bit of TV time. The Meatball Motorsport car uses some in the background there as well. The lovely purple machine is that. Kieran Dempsey is down in 20th. He had a lot more of a stronger showing in the media day. I wonder if he's just jumped in with no practice, as Fabian Siegman goes up to pole position there in the Team Husingveld Hyundai in slipstream of Jake Cranston, and Morgan Burkhardt also right up there, just 500ths back, 55 thousandths the gap between pole position and second place. Both Hyundais, it's an all Hyundai top 3. Mark Draper absolutely dragging the SRL Audi up into the top 4 as well. Roman Perschke there, the Austrian driver, in 5th. Stephen Fry, give that man a round of applause, because he has been so far, I mean, I know we're only 1 round in, but he's been on form this season. He's already got a second place to his name, and now he's up in the top 6 based on qualifying. He's currently faster than Jake Cranston, who's letting a number of drivers go. Kieran Dempsey, who we just mentioned for being in P20, is now up in the top 8. That's more like it from the Audi driver. He's got his teammate Stephen King right behind. So where's the 3rd Pulsars driver? It's John Bailiff in the Hyundai. Currently down in P19, looking to get a bit of slipstream from the Honda in front of Stephen King. Henry Morse and Austin Farr next to each other at Okayama. Showed great pace at Phillip Island, both of these Street Casuals boys did, but Henry Morse's weekend a little bit worse for wear compared to Austin Farr's, through not much fault of his own, but a very scrappy weekend contact-wise with other drivers. He'll be looking for a much cleaner race, or 3 races today. Let's read some stats whilst we've got a few minutes left, just in case I've missed any. So we've had 3 races so far and 3 race winners. That is Stefan Scheller, the Icelandic driver for Team Husingveld, Jake Cranston, the British driver for All Sports Racing, and David Corpus, the Portuguese driver for Lurchus Gaming. That's 3 different drivers, 3 different teams, and actually, what car is Scheller driving? That's 3 different cars. Stefan Scheller in the Audi, Cranston in the Honda, and Corpus in the Hyundai. That's, I promise this is not scripted, but that is kind of insane. There's been a whole load of crazy symmetry so far this season. For example, 3 drivers didn't turn up last week, each of them in each different car as well, so there was 9 of each car on the grid. Little things like that pleases the OCD mind, I guess. Anyway, pole positions. We've only had 1 pole sitter obviously so far, and that is Morgan Burkhardt for All Sports Racing. It's looking like he's close to re-emulating that, but he's not quite there, as Fabian Siegman is currently the fastest out there with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go of qualifying. We've had 8 people on the podium in those 3 races, with only 1 driver repeating that feat. It was Austin Farr. We mentioned that earlier for Street Casuals. Austin Farr there in the orange Honda. Stefan Scheller, obviously a podium sitter. Stephen King was a podium sitter. Jake Cranston, Arthur Thurtle was up there on the podium as well. We haven't seen him yet in qualifying. Where is he? There he is in the SRL Honda. With Cranston right behind him, the number 70 car. Corpus, Fry and Manentveld, your other podium sitters. Podiums by manufacturer. 5 Hondas have been on the podium so far, 3 Hyundais and only 1 Audi. That 1 Audi being the winner. And 3 drivers have set the fastest lap. That's Scheller, Siegmann and Draper. 2 of them Husingveld boys taking the fastest lap. Corpus was your driver of the day last week. I have sorted out the form this time, so you will be able to vote for driver of the day in race 3. And your highest scorer, of course, the championship leader, Jake Cranston, was... Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's where I am. They all seem to be going a little bit slower now. So I'm guessing they all know that their laps are done. Is anyone else going to get a lap in? I think Henry Morse is the only one that might improve on another lap as he comes around the final corner. Gets a little bit of a slide on. It's 20 seconds left. This will be it. He's currently down in 21st place, 1.2 seconds off the pace. I've got a feeling with that slide he's not up. He's got 2 orange sectors. It's a 1:37.9, and he doesn't improve. He's a 10th down. And then he pulls over, stops, disappears. There he goes. And I think Fabian Siegmann has actually just gone faster there. I missed that. He's now a 10th on pole instead of 500ths. So let's go through the grid. The grid may be lasting 2 minutes because I accidentally registered for the race, which means you're going to have to wait for me to grid up, and I'm obviously not gridding up because I am your commentator for today. Fabian Siegmann for Team Husingveld is your pole sitter. Then Morgan Burkhardt, Dan Mold and Roman Peschke round off your second row. Jake Cranston, Mark Draper, Matt Sanderson and Stefan Scheller there. That's 3 Husingveld drivers in your top 8. Oh, that went too far. Let's going to have to do this one row at a time. Arthur Thurtle and Kieran Dempsey round off your 5th row. Stephen Fry and Stephen King on row 6. Duncan Murray, Austin Farr, row 7. Sam Van Olsen, John Bailiff on row 8. David Corpus and Nicola Quay, the Lurchers Gaming pair on row 9. Carl Ridley and Steve Hellwood round off your top 20. Henry Morse and Joe Gibson are on row 11. Eric Mannitveld and Martin Wallace on row 12. James Parfitt, Dan Thornton on row 13. Jan Weisfang and Brandon Hughes on row 14. And your final row is Jesus Amundre by himself because I am not in the race. That will be that should be Alejandro Carade, but he's not there. I keep saying that. I look forward to seeing him back, of course. Anyway, it is time to get ready. They are all pretty much sitting there. In fact, Morgan Burkhardt is not there yet, so it's not just me we're waiting for. This gives us time to have a look for... What have we got here in terms of start? That's a bit far away, isn't it, from the old starting point? That's behind a wall. We don't want that. I think we're just going to have to look at it from this point of view. No, I like this one. There we go. Right. Round 2. Someone is blinking. I don't know if it's just people escaping or not, but there's someone near the back. I think it's a ZFG car. Or is it an all-sports car? Might be the all-sports Audi of James Parfitt. But the lights are on. 2 minutes are up. And heat 1 of the day is about to begin. It's race 4, round 2 here at Okayama, Japan. And away they go. There's a bit of wheel spin in the midfield. Fairly clean starts from the top as the Honda of Roman Peschke moves straight up into P2 on the inside of Dan Mold down towards turn 1. Dan turns into the corner. But look at that. Morgan Burkhardt takes the lead. And you've got people tumbling down the order already. Oh no, the Honda's out. He's round. It's Fabian Siegmann. Not Fabian Siegmann. I can't remember who it is. It's Roman Peschke in the Honda is going down the order. Siegmann and Scheller absolutely getting mugged on the start a little bit. Matt Sanderson's trying to come through as well. There was, look at this, side by side, Mark Draper and Siegmann on the outside in the Hyundai. He's got Scheller behind in the number 69 Audi as they go up the hill. Dan Mold is now down into P3 as Jake Cranston moves up into P2. It's an all sports 1-2, but Roman Peschke down into 21st place after an absolutely blinding start. Henry Morse has been off track at one point as well. I wonder if he broke on the grass as John Bailiff is flashing his lights already. It's early days to be doing that. Have we seen any sends down into the hairpin? I'm not too sure that we have. I didn't hear too much knocking as Stephen Fry's on the inside of King down into turn 6. Lovely move there from Stephen Fry. But can Stephen King hold around the outside of turn 7? He's going to give it a damn good go as he gets, look at that run that he got. And Austin Farr's going to be looking to pick up places as well. Mark Draper to the inside of Fabian Siegmann there in the SRL Audi. Matt Sanderson making a bit of contact there up the road. But look at the top 2 as Jake Cranston comes under pressure from Dan Mold round the outside of the hairpin. Dan Mold is going to be round the outside of the final turn as Morgan Burkhardt's trying to get away. Second to last turn. Dan Mold round the outside. They're still side by side down towards the final turn. Dan Mould and Jake Cranston side by side for the whole last sector. And look at the run. Their run's going to be ruined. Stefan Scheller is going to pass both of them on the inside. He's going to get 2 for the price of 1. It's Hyundai Honda versus Audi on the main straight. Cranston flashing his lights, and Stefan Scheller moves up into P2. Jake Cranston tries to get a switchback. There's contact. The 2 cars around, and Dan Mould makes contact with yet more drivers. And down goes Cranston and Scheller after an absolutely amazing fight. Dan Mould, I think, will be coming out potentially with a penalty, but it's hard to say from that point of view, to be honest. And that's Fabian Siegmann there now in P3. Morgan Burkhardt with a 4-second lead. It's looking like it's going exactly the way he wants it to go so far. Stephen Fry, speaking of Farr, has just passed Austin Farr, and Sam Van Olst is also involved in this fight as Dan Mould leads this train down towards the hairpin. I can't watch any replays. I think Siegmann is going to have a look around the outside as he tries to break as late as he dares into the hairpin. Look at this. The team Husingveld Hyundai round the outside of Dan Mould can't quite make it stick. Mats Anderson will be watching and waiting for his chance to pick up positions. Up 5 places is Austin Farr, who's got Stephen Fry behind, and Sam Van Olst, who goes down the inside of turn 7. That was looking close from those two. Sam Van Olst's going to have the inside to the hairpin. Oh, that's James Parfitt round. Gets a bit of a tag from Carl Ridley in the background. I think he survives, actually. He's kept it out of the wall. And now Austin Farr very much in the front of this train as Sam Van Olst has made a position on Stephen Fry there. They've got Duncan Murray for company as well. Ika Lequay having a good little race. He's on the outside of Duncan Murray into the final section. It takes a brave man to go around the outside of Duncan Murray, I tell you that. And Eric Manintveld, ever the opportunist, the Dutch driver down the inside of the final turn, will now be trying to get the run on the straight. John Bailiff looking like he got the better exit, but he's got nowhere to go. He's actually stuck and boxed in there in the Pulsars Hyundai. Is he going to make it 3 wide? He's going to try. He goes around the outside of Eric Manintveld. Glowing brake discs from the Hyundais here. Down towards, it's only 9-lap race. I can't catch my breath already. I feel like I've just ran up a flight of stairs after trying to keep up with whatever's happened. John Bailiff and Eric Manintveld still side by side. There's contact. John gets sent left into the wall. Can he save it? He does. Keep it on the road. I wonder if he's got damage. I think he's okay. Is his car going to squirrel on the brakes? I think he's okay. Let's go on board with John Bailiff. You should be able to watch his steering. I think he might be okay, which is weird. Eric Manintveld giving the position back by the looks of it. That'll be an instruction from race control, I imagine. Because there's no slowdown in that section. If you see some defence, hard defence going on in the background there. I missed who it was. I think it's Jesus Amundere and Dan Thornton having a tight little fight back here. And that is Steve Hailwood in the Audi for ZFG as well involved in this, with Jan Weisfanger looking to gain from all of this, and Stefan Scheller, Morse, Parfitt and Perschke all the way at the back after all of those issues at the start. I wonder if we can have a look at anything that we might have missed. Hailwood and Morse, I think, had it coming together. There it is. That's an interesting one. I wonder if we can have another look at that. Not sure who to blame for this. Goodstudge93 in chat. I think Henry's going to the left as the corner turns right. That's an interesting one. I will let Stephen Burns deal with that. Roman Perschke went off track. We saw this one at the start. These guys survived, but then they did crash later on. So that's what happened to Roman, and I have a feeling it was the same incident when we saw the other boys go round. We saw that crash already, don't need to watch that again. Wait, is that the same 2 people involved in another crash? I'm so confused at this. No, that was the start. I'm being silly. Jake Cranston and Stefan Scheller was the other one. Let's have a quick look. Dan Mould trying to get the switch back, leans on Jake's right. That one will probably be a penalty, to be honest. The first one, touch and go. That one, interesting. Probably from that overhead view, drive through as it's taken out 2 drivers. We'll go back to the action though and see what is going on. But that just looked like Dan Mole turned into a corner when there was a car on his inside. Let's go back live. F in chat for Mr. Morse indeed. Let's have a catch up at what is going on in this race. I'm sure Stephen Burns will be watching that. It's on lap 5 of 9. Let me know what you think in chat from those incidents. But Morgan Burkhardt right now has got a 4.3 second lead. Dan Mold currently in P2 after the number of incidents that he's had. Fabian Sigmund in P3 though, right behind him, still looking to gain that place. And look at that, Team SRL, Mark Draper there in the Audi in P4. Mats Anderson though, hunting him down in the ORD Honda. Lovely tidy line there from Mats Anderson, the Norwegian driver, climbing up the hill now. He's going to have slipstream all the way. From my memory, the Honda is better on the brakes than the Audi, but let's see how much better. Heading down towards the hairpin here at Okayama. Ooh, he gets really close, and you can see Sigmund there having another try at Dan Mold around the outside of that hairpin. I think if Mr. Burns is going to give any sort of penalty, it would have been done by now, so I don't know if Dan Mold might have got away with it or not. Listen to those engines. Listen to those touring car engines. Let me know what the volumes are like. I haven't heard any complaints, so that's a good sign, I guess. You can hear the roar of these TCRs and their single exhaust coming out the back. Oh, look at that, Mats Borg Anderson. He did not want to be doing that. Very good drivers were taken out from mostly good positions. Lucky that now there are 3 races, so plenty of chances for races to catch up. Says Christoph Plays, that is true. They do have plenty of chances to come back. I want to have one more look at it. Yeah, man. I stand by it. I do stand by it. Jake Cranston on the inside. Dan Mold. Ooh. Oh, it's tough. It is a tough choice. The yellow car. Not spun. Just trying to ride in the corner and got himself spun. Yellow car? Talking about Goldwing. I don't know who we're talking about now. Confusing. Chat's confusing me. Ridley and Gibson have been swapping places quite a lot. So let's go and have a look at this little fight back here. Kyle Ridley currently in 16th place. Joe Gibson for ORD and Eric Mannenveld and Cranston is involved in this. He's in P19. You've got Wallace and Hughes for ZFG behind as well. As I hear Fry and Murray making side-by-side contact. There it is again. Goldwing versus Meatball. This is a pair of cars here. Oh, look how tight they got through the final sector. Stephen Fry leaving no quarter. Stephen Burns says not clear enough from my view for a drive-through. That's fair enough. The yellow and white one on the first corner. Duncan Murray looks sending it down the inside of turn 1. Oh, blimey, that was a late move. And then look, there's more contact on the exit of Ika Lequay and the Audi. But Stephen Fry, that was really strong from Dunkey there. I wanna see that again. Let's go on board. This is what it looked like from his point of view. Anchors on those brakes. That was very TCR indeed. Great overtake there. It'd be interesting to rewatch that first lap 1 incident in the stewards another day, because the only other thing I could think might have happened is Jake widening on the exit, but I do think that he would have been lent on in the rear. Stephen King there. No, not Stephen King. It'll be John Bailiff. I keep getting these two confused because they swapped cars. John Bailiff is now in the Pulsars Hyundai. Stephen King is further up the road with Kieran Dempsey in P7 and 8 as Bailiff goes to the inside of Corpus. Race winner David Corpus, I might add, from last time out. Leans on him through the hairpin. Side by side on the exit. That sounded like contact behind. Equay and Joe Gibson, that will be. And Kyle Ridley as well is involved. Is that? Let's have a look. It was right behind. There's Cranston as well. Oh, no. Gibson's round. Kyle Ridley's going to get tagged round. Everyone comes to a... You can't park there, sir. Everyone comes to a pretty much stop. I reckon Joe Gibson's car might be damaged as well from that. If he hasn't, then he might be lucky. Great move from Mr. Murray, says Good 93. I feel for Joe there. That was annoying. Let's have one more look. I feel like this whole live race is a stewards meeting at the moment. Oh, to be fair, like, where's Lecquay's car going to go? Kyle Ridley was the absolute passenger in that, and then Martin Wallace as well. Look at the other guys come through. Great avoidance there from the ZFG Audi of Steve Halewood, I think that is. Yes, good stuff. Peter Ridley says, go Duncan, go. As we say that, he's side by side with someone again. Corpus is trying to make a move as well. Lap 8 of 9. So one more lap after this. Morgan Burkhardt 5.6 seconds in the lead. Murray and Fry still side by side. Corpus is looking to follow the Hyundai through. It's 3 Hyundais versus 1 Honda. John Bailiff is... Oh, Duncan, keep that car on the road. There's contact there. Stephen Fry moves to the inside. Defends from John Bailiff. Corpus round the outside of Bailiff. Bailiff still trying to make moves. He's now going to be on the outside of Corpus. Fry, though, maybe compromised on exit. It's getting really tight between these guys here. This is all for 13th place right now. You wouldn't think it, to be honest, but it is what it is. And the white flag is out as Morgan Burkhardt is coming around the first to end his first sector there. You can see MB on the track map. That is who you want to be watching for your race leader. Unlucky for ZFG, picked the wrong side, Martin, says Greg in YouTube chat. And this battle seems to have calmed down, but Fabian Siegman is still absolutely trying to get that pressure on Dan Mould as he enters the downhill turn. Can he get the better exit? Interesting lines through here. It's Hyundai versus Hyundai here in second and third. It's going to be an all Hyundai podium. The stats are rapidly going to catch up the Audi stats from season 1 at this rate. But he's going to have to absolutely send it on the brakes into the hairpin if he wants to try and make this move. And he does brake late. He brakes as late as he dares. There's contact there as he tries to squeeze down to the inside. That was a cracking effort from Fabian there. But he just couldn't quite get it done. Mark Draper there in P4. Mats Anderson still in P5. Morgan Burkhardt, though, absolutely leagues ahead. You can just see him in the distance. The next closest fight is John Bailiff, who's still trying to get past Corpus here. He's on the inside of 6. He's going to have the inside of 7. This might be it for John Bailiff in the Pulsars eSports Hyundai. But Corpus is absolutely not going to let this go. He's got still side by side on the exit. And as we say this, Morgan Burkhardt is coming around the final turn. Joking. He's on the main straight is Morgan Burkhardt. We're going to have to cut to it. Here he is all by himself and across the line for race 4 of the RLTC Season 2 Championship 2023. Morgan Burkhardt takes the win in an absolutely effortless drive, it seemed. No issues whatsoever with Mould and Sigmund rounding off the podium, but who is going to come out on top in that battle that we were watching? I've actually lost it. Here it is. It is Bailiff who just leads from David Corpus. They cross the line side by side. Cranston back up into 15th place after the earlier contact. Probably will be questioning the drive through. And again, it's just the way the stewarding works. We did say if it's too close to call or we can't quite put the blame too much on one driver, then it won't be a drive through. It will be dealt with afterwards. Look at Corpus flying through. Where is everyone else? Fabian Siegman absolutely put up a great attack there. He really was trying everything around that hairpin. SRL boys all in the top 6. Sam Van Nolst, he went under the radar. Look at him in the Goldwing Audi in P9. Did not see him much at all. Give that man a round of applause. Austin Farr up there in the top 10 for Street Casuals. The current team's leaders. Right, grid time. Arthur Thurtle and Mats Anderson. Remember, top 6 are reversed. So, it's Thurtle, Anderson, row 1. Draper and Sigmund, row 2. Mould and Burkhardt on row 3. Dempsey and King and all Pulsus row 4. Van Olst, Farr rounding off your top 10. Murray and Stephen Fry. Bailiff and Corpus. Cranston and Scheller on row 8. Hughes and Thornton on row 9. Manetveld and Amundere on row 10, rounding off your top 20. Steve Halewood and Jan Weisfanger, 21st and 22nd. Henry Morse, Ike LeQuay, Joe Gibson, Martin Wallace, James Parfitt, Roman Peshke, and Kyle Ridley rounding off the grid there in 29th place. He must have got damage from that little crash that we saw that he got caught up in, because he was in a strong position, was Kyle Ridley, but not anymore, which is a shame to see. Biggie says, with only a few minutes to review some of these incidents, it must be hard at times. That's right, it's a new thing, we're trying. But absolutely, we don't want to give a drive through and then not be able to undo it, so it's better to do it in hindsight. But all 5 lights are out for race 2 here. Another 9 laps of the RLTC begins, and Arthur Thurtle gets a blinding start, as does Mark Draper in the Audi, who passes Matt Sanderson straight away. And they go towards turn 1, and Arthur Thurtle leads the way. Draper in second, Matt Sanderson in third. Kieran Dempsey is making moves as well. He's up into P6. He's round the outside of Dan Mould, and he moves up into P6. Morgan Burkhardt next on his radar. Sam Van Olst is still there amongst all of this chaos. He's in P8. He's up past Stephen King, who I think is alongside him as they go down the hill towards turn 4. They are indeed. Austin Farr is looking to get past them as well. Kieran Dempsey will now be looking to defend, I imagine, as he climbs up the hill. Well, all of them climbing up the hill, but Arthur Thurtle, look at that. He's already having a massive lead. Matt Sanderson, I think, will be putting on pressure for Mark Draper. Morgan Burkhardt looking to push someone. Fabian Siegman there around the outside. He's tried that a few times. There's so many cars. I feel like I'm getting lag on my end. I'm not sure about the stream, which is unusual because we don't normally get it. But look at this. Morgan Burkhardt and Siegman side by side. Matt Sanderson, is just far enough ahead. Turns in because he knows that car is not far enough alongside to make a move. Bit of a rub on the exit for Morgan Burkhardt, and that puts him under pressure. Kieran Dempsey makes that move. Fabian Siegman, though, slots back into P4. Kieran Dempsey up into P5. Morgan Burkhardt down a position. Duncan Murray, look at, well, I don't even know why I mentioned Duncan Murray. I'm just seeing all of these cars all on the same lap, all on the lead lap. Don't know who's racing who. This is what it looks like at the back, with Roman Peshke looking to get past some of the rear end of the field. He's got Jan Weisfanger next on his scope. I imagine he'll be one to watch, actually, Roman, if he's back here, because he should be able to carve his way through the field, as Fabian, I think, is about to pass Mats. He's on the inside, is Fabian. Up into P3 he goes. Morgan Burkhardt passes Kieran Dempsey back for P5 as well down the inside of turn 1. A bit of a rub on the exit, but that looks like it was all to do with touring cars. I feel like we need some sort of, I don't know if this is going to work, the battles box needs more GPU. Was the top 12 reversed, says Biggie Morello? Not this time, just the top 6 reversed for race 2. Top 12 will be reversed after this one. But there is a break as well for that. That is Kieran Dempsey under pressure now from Sam Van Olst, actually. So he's losing places, is Dempsey, all of a sudden. He was up into the top 5. Sam Van Olst on the inside of the hairpin now. I wonder if there was more contact or if Mould managed to just push him offline in a way that he became vulnerable to everyone else, because now Austin Farr is looking to come through. Slots back in behind Sam Van Olst, does Dempsey. Stefan Scheller, after having what looked promising in race 1, he's now up into P15. 3 more places and he'll be starting that 3rd race on pole position. You see King and Cranston going side by side. Famous racing line pairing, this pair, Stephen King and Jake Cranston. They've been here from the start, all that time ago in the Volkswagen Jetta Cup Season 1, Volkswagen Jetta Cup Season 2, Racing Line Touring Car Championship Season 1, and the Volkswagen Jetta Cup Season 3. Both of them have been there the whole time, but Season 1 came together at Summit Point. RLTC, Okayama. Was it RLTC or was it Jetta Cup? Well, they've had a crash at Okayama before, I remember that. Mixed messages between them. But here they are, not crashing for now. Don't want to jinx that really, though. Sigmund, though, side by side with Draper as he's trying to make more positions in the Team Husingveld Hyundai. Draper, though, positioning his car well. Up the hill they go. Draper absolutely holding the inside. They need to be careful how close they get in terms of rears. Dan Thornton lost like 10 places already, says Andre. He's back up into 25th now. Is Dan. He's down 7 places from where he started. Round the outside goes Fabian Siegmann. That is an absolutely cracking move. He might have finally done it. He tried it on Dan Mould a number of times. There's contact there on the exit. Draper goes wide, loses 4 positions. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was naughty or not, to be honest. From what we saw, it just looked like touring car racing. There's flashing lights in the background there. Can't really see what's going on there. But Fabian Siegmann up into P2. Morgan Burkhardt P3 after winning race 1. He'll be absolutely loving this right now. As I see some issues, there's some smoke going on up here. And I can hear more crashes, actually. For some reason, somehow. I can't see any issues with this group, so I think they were just sliding around. Duncan Murray and Henry Morse were involved. So let's see if this replay works. Oh, Duncan tagged Jake round. I think he's going to let Jake have that position back, but Jake will probably lose 3 positions from it anyway. And then I think Amundare and Hughes have had a crash behind as well into the hairpin. Yeah, it was just behind that gaggle of cars that we just saw. So here's Hughes and ZFG and Amundare in the Audi. What happens here? Hughes spins. Oh, oh, oh! That'll need a new door. Oh! Oh, we got to watch that again. Carl Ridley. Carl Ridley's POV. Watch this. Watch this. Watch the shot Kyle gets as he comes around this corner. Well, he's punted that guy out the way. Whoa! 2 cars there. He punted that Lurcher's car out the way as well. That'll probably be looked at. I don't know how he got around the broken cars. Jan still manages to hit them at 5 miles an hour. And away they go. Jesus Mundere continues. That's a shame. Brandon Hughes unfortunately losing the rear there. There was no contact. But anyway, back to the front. Fabian Siegmann still in P2. He is chasing down the Honda of Arthur Thurtle up the road, who is 1.3 seconds in the lead of this race on lap 5 of 9. Lap times wise, Arthur Thurtle 1:38.8 last time round. 1:38.0 for Fabian Siegmann, 0.8 quicker. I think I can show that. There we go. Morgan Burkhardt 0.7 quicker as well, although it's showing lap 4 there when it's oh yeah, because we're on lap 5, so that is correct. I'll leave that up. That looks useful. The lap time counter. 1.1 seconds. Corpus are swapping over as well, I think. And Mannitveld looking to challenge. That Honda screaming like the M3 GTR from Most Wanted, says Christoph Plays. Biggie Morello says Ridley did well to get around there. Andre Mayrick says oof. Greg says Brandon, sad face. Biggie Morello says car crashed into the tyre wall. Well, it was a wall, not tyres. Far gained 5 position between the races so far. Far. This chat is popping off. I can't read that and watch the race. I mean that Hyundai. Yes, confusing. 2 cars beginning with H, but it's alright. You're forgiven. Anyway, Cranston is pressuring Morse up the road there. Morse is up 9 positions from race 1, so he's having a better race of it this time in P14. Mannitveld in P18, Austin Farr in P9. Dempsey is still holding strong in P7, but once again, under the radar, up 3 positions, is Sam Van Olst in P6. This man has been very much MIA for a while in the TRL Discord, and he's come out of nowhere, and he's got pace. Ridley's had issues. He's down in 21st. Brandon Hughes had that spin. LeQuay's down there. He's probably out of position a little bit. James Parfitt's been having a quiet round. Let's give James Parfitt a shout out. A fellow commentator in the Audi for All Sports Racing. But he's got cars in front of him, so his race isn't over. He's under pressure from Ika LeQuay behind. He's got Dan Thornton in front and Martin Wallace for ZFG. Oh, gives Ika a little bit of room. Bit of a squeeze there on the apex, but keeps that position, defends his position nicely. Makes me laugh when people flash. And miles back, says Biggie Morello. Yeah, I do that. I'm not going to lie. It happens. It does happen. I need to try and hold out for this 4 laps before I have a drink, because I am parched. Throat is dry. I had pizza. That's what I blame it on. Fastest lap of the race so far. Dan Mould, who's currently in P4. He's done a 1:38.03. Morgan Burkhardt a 1:38.08, though, as they are all climbing. Let's go back to Sigmund's car, because they are right on the back of Arthur Thurtle, and your time difference is there. Lap 5, he was 6 tenths quicker, so you've got to say that Sigmund is looking in a strong position for a Husingveld win right now. Arthur Thurtle done everything right for the first half of the race, but can he hold on to this for effectively 3 more laps as we go on to lap 7? Look at the time difference here as they cross the line. It's going to be minimal. Arthur Thurtle moves to the inside. He's going to try and defend. He's going to go all the way. He forces Sigmund to the outside. Morgan Burkhardt just sits pretty there behind. Not going to fight them. He's going to try and take advantage of any slow exits gained. Arthur Thurtle keeps P1 into turn 1. Down towards turn 2 they go, and Sigmund looks up the inside, but Thurtle places his car perfectly to avoid any lunges from any car. And now Sigmund's going to come under pressure from Morgan Burkhardt. And look who's behind. It's Dan Mould for Team SRL as well in the Hyundai. And now down towards the next turn. Down the hill they go. Arthur Thurtle puts his car in the middle of the circuit. Morgan Burkhardt goes around the outside of Sigmund. They're going to try. He's going to hold him tight, but I think Sigmund's got the better run. I don't know who to watch this from. Should we go on the nose of Dan Mould? He can see pretty much everyone as they go down the back straight. He's got no pressure from behind. 2 seconds back is Matt Sanderson for Team ORD. Down the hill they go towards the hairpin. Thurtle holds the inside. There's contact, and the Hyundai's round. He's not going to get that stopped as they go down towards the hairpin. There's more contact. Arthur Thurtle gets tugged round. Dan Mould is going to come round as well. He's going to take the lead. He's going to inherit that lead, I think, as Arthur Thurtle now slots into P2. That was that similar to... Oh, Henry Morse has had a crash as well. We've jinxed him somehow. Was that similar to Phillip Island for Morgan Burkhardt, or was he actually alongside that time? I have a feeling he was alongside that time, so let's have a look. Ooh. Ooh. That's tough. That is tough. The question is, did Sigmund make 2 moves? Because he's moved left there. So Morgan changes his mind and goes right. And then Sigmund changes his mind and goes right. And then that's how that contact happens. That's the miscommunication that we were talking about in the briefing that happens at Okayama. And then let's watch the aftermath. Sigmund can't get that stopped. Thurtle gets collected. No. That's a little bit frustrating, but I'm not going to put that on Morgan, to be honest. I think that was 2 moves from the Husingveld car from the view that we just watched. What happened to Henry Morse? It's come up that he done something. Oh, was it Corpus absolutely sending it down the inside? Spinning the Street Casuals car there. Who reverses. You don't often see reversing in a race. Smart rejoin from Henry Morse. Do you know what? It's only fair that we give that one more watch. We've given everything else one more watch today. Let's look at it from above. Did Corpus make it to the corner? Or has he just gone absolutely deep? Oh, that's tough. I don't envy Stephen Burns today. Anyway, Arthur Thurtle is down in P3. Sigmund is into the pit, so I think his car had damage. Too much damage. He could have made it to... Oh, that's why. His engine's blown. No. Bad to worst for Fabian. You can hear the radio message now. No. White flag has come on. I'm trying... What was I trying to find? There was an overtake for something. It was Arthur Thurtle, but I can't see it. Morgan Burkhardt on Arthur Thurtle. There it is. So this is how he did it. More multi-moving from the cars in front of him, and actually it looked fairly easily done for the all-sports racer. Back live we go. And Dan Mould looking in control with big scrapes down the sides of his car. Morgan Burkhardt flashing his lights, This is what it looks like behind Dan Mold's Hyundai. Defends to the inside. Morgan Burkhardt. Oh, has he broken on the grass? I think he might have gone deep. Yeah, he has. He broke on the grass, went deep, and that might have been his only opportunity. And look at behind. That is Mats Borg Andersen putting the pressure on Arthur Thurtle for a podium here at the last second as well. Can he get that done? I think he's looking racy as Mats Borg Andersen. Has Thurtle got damage as he shoots to the inside to try and defend? Thurtle is doing his absolute best to try and hold on to this, but Mats Borg Andersen is not letting it go. He's trying to get switchback after switchback in the Team ORD car to try and claim that final spot on the podium in the 76 Honda. They're coming around the final couple of turns now. Dan Mold is leading into the final turn. You've got to assume that it's going to be his win as Mats Borg Andersen goes towards the inside of the final turn. There's a bit of a touch. Round they go. Arthur Thurtle's trying to get the best run as they can. It's going to be a drag race as Dan Mold comes across the line to take the win of race 2. Morgan Burkhardt is in P2 and Arthur Thurtle does come home in P3. Van Hulst takes P4 from Mats Borg Andersen in the end after getting a slow exit. I think Mats was being perhaps fair there after the contact. Dempsey couldn't quite get the position. Draper, Farr, Bailiff and Scheller rounding off your top 10. Martin in the pits. Martin was in the pits for some reason. Can't see a reason, to be honest. Doesn't say he crashed. Maybe he got X's. Maybe it was a drive-through. There is an X limit. 18X the limit. Before the drivers get a drive-through from iRacing, not the live steward. And then every 6 after that, I believe, they get another drive-through. I think Thurtle had damage after the crash, says Biggie Morello. Seemed to be a lot slower after that. Yeah, I agree. Henry's not having a great evening either. Henry's had 2 bad evenings. He has very much been involved in the wars. This looks very dark compared to the previous race. But it is time for drinks. Can we get a scenic cam on the go or not really? It doesn't look like we can. Let's have a look at that time. I'll tell you what, let's put up the race results too. This is what it looks like. So that was race 2's results. I will leave that with you whilst I refresh. Take this time to say thank you to our partners over at VCO eSports, of course, once again. Whether you're watching with us on the Racing Line YouTube or Twitch, or the VCO eSports YouTube or Twitch, I see you. There's quite a few of you on the VCO Twitch, I think. Don't be shy to get in chat. Racing Line YouTube looks busy as well. Well done, guys. Thank you. And girls, if you're out there. And, of course, to our partners, the RLTC is powered by GT Omega. See their little logo in the bottom right there. And of course you can check out the racingline.org for any updates on the season and gallery pictures from VCO eSports as well. It's taken a while to update this week, but it will be sorted, I'm sure, as soon as it can be. Anyway, your top 10 from race 2. Mold, Burkhardt, Thurtle, Van Hulst, Andersen, Dempsey, Draper, Farr, Bailiff and Scheller. From race 1. Burkhardt, Mold, Sigmund, Draper, Andersen, Thurtle, Dempsey, King, Van Hulst and Farr. Mold and Burkhardt, first and second in both races. That is interesting. Sigmund up there in P3. Was it a Husingveld car? Oh no, it was Thurtle held on. Scheller made it to the top 10. It's feisty stuff. I think I've just spotted this. Does this actually show the... oh, look at that. It shows the results for the cars. Thurtle, Anderson, Farr, King, Cranston, Peschke, Murray, Weisbanger and Hughes for the Hondas. This is race 2. Hyundais, Mold, Burkhardt, Bailiff, Corpus, Spannetveld, Ridley, Thornton, Wallace, Fry and Sigmund. Thornton and P7 out of the Hyundais. And your Audis was Vinol, Dempsey, Draper, Scheller, Gibson, Hellwood, Morse, Lequay, Amundre and Parfit there. Rounding off the top 10 Audis. And what did it look like in race 1? Draper, Dempsey, Vinol, Scheller, Amundre, Hellwood, Morse, Lequay, Gibson, Parfit. Hyundais. Burkhardt, Bold, Sigmund, Fry, Bailiff, Corpus, Thornton, Maniveld, Wallace, Ridley. Ridley had a mare that race. Anderson, Thurtle, King, Farr, Murray, Cranston, Hughes, Weisbanger and Peschke in the Hondas. I didn't know you could do that. It's a nice little graphic. The calendar. Let's throw the calendar up whilst the last few minutes disappear of the warm-up before we head to our final race of the day where the top 12 are reversed for the grid. We had our qualifying round at Rudskogen, the new Norwegian track. That was to pick our drivers or weed out any drivers that maybe shouldn't have been on the grid and try and get our final 30 before we headed to Media Day, where there are no points on offer at Media Day, but it's the first outing where we see all the liveries and all the official teams, and the winners of that day were Burkhardt, Anderson and Thurtle. Anderson taking technically his first win, but it doesn't count because it wasn't an official race. And then round 1 at Phillip Island saw another cracking event, just like last season's finale. We kicked it off with a bang this time with Phillip Island, and your winners was Stefan Scheller, Jake Cranston and David Corpus for Lurchus Gaming. And here at Okayama so far, we've had Burkhardt and Mold, and race 3 yet to be decided, and it will all start in approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds. So, here we go then. Race 3. Music is off. Race 3 will be underway very shortly, and let's have a look at your grid. It's Cranston and King, the pair that we were talking about earlier on the front row. Scheller, Bailiff, Farr, Draper, Dempsey and Anderson round off your top 8. Sam Van Olsen, Thurtle rounding off your top 10. On row 6, we have Burkhardt and Mold, your 2 winners from today. Corpus, Manentveld, Peschke and Murray, Ridley, Gibson and Halewood and Morse rounding off your top 20. Thornton, Lequay, Weisfanger and Amundere go down to 24th. Parfit and Wallace, Hughes and Fry, and rounding off the field is Fabian Siegmund after that issue in race 2. And that is our grid. Hopefully an easier race for the stewards maybe for race 3, although in previous seasons it's always got worse per race. I don't want to jinx that, but that's how it works. It's normally safest in race 1. Race 2 gets a little feisty, and race 3 is all to play for. 4, 5 lights are on for race 3. It's race 6 in total for round 2 here at Okayama, the final race of the evening. And away they go down the grid, down towards turn 1. Dempsey moves from one side to the other. The Husingveld Honda in the distance there moves from one side to the other. Cranston and King side by side into turn 1. You got Bailiff coming up into P3 as well, with Stefan Scheller on the inside in the Audi. Is there going to be contact behind? That looked fairly close as John turned in, but no, they're fine. Mark Draper in the SRL Audi. Austin Farr and Dempsey are also side by side. There was contact in the distance there. There's people round into the wall. It's Stephen King. Not King, it's Stephen Fry, Weiswanger and James Parfitt all in the wall. I think Parfitt's car might be damaged. There's a ZFG caught up in that as well, which will be Steve Halewood, who's having an absolute nightmare today. But up the front, Cranston leads as they exit the main corner, coming onto that back straight down towards the hairpin. And it looks like Draper and Scheller are going to go side by side down. Oh, I thought Scheller was going to break late, but he did not. Cranston keeps it simple. Far absolutely launching it around the outside of Dempsey there. You got Sam Van Olst leaning on Mats Borg Anderson on the exit of turn 5. Down in towards turn 6 they go. Sam Van Olst on the outside of Mats Anderson into turn 7. They're following 2 by 2. Hurrah, hurrah, as Austin Farr runs out. Kieran Dempsey there, who's flashing his lights in disappointment because he's now under pressure from Anderson on the inside. They're free wide towards the hairpin, and Morgan Burkhardt's going to try and force his way through. They're still free wide towards the next hairpin. Sam Van Olst on the inside of Dempsey tries to give him room on the exit. Dempsey's being muscled out left, right and centre down towards the second to last corner. Sam Van Olst on the inside. I think Dempsey might slot in now and play it safe, as Dan Mould and Burkhardt are in 11th and 12th still. And I think Mould has just passed Burkhardt actually in that corner behind. Dempsey now trying to get the run on Sam Van Olst down towards turn 1. It's Audi versus Audi power. Can he get better on the brakes? I don't think Dempsey can. Sam Van Olst gets it turned in fine, but understeers a little bit on the exit. And now Dempsey's going to hold it around the outside. Mould's going to try and come through as well. Dempsey around the outside of 2. Gets the better run. That's an absolutely amazing move from Kieran Dempsey. And now he's got the inside for the next corner. But if they stay side by side, they're going to become vulnerable to the Hyundais behind. Dan Mould makes contact with Sam Van Olst. They're both into the wall. Back onto the track they go. And there's a Husingveld car off as well. Dan Mould is out of the race. Championship contender. Sam Van Olst will have a damaged car as well. And the Husingveld car of... which one was it? Roman Peschke, who's had no luck again. Sam Van Olst is going to limp his way back to the pits. Oh, it's just happens every time. I'm telling you, you can't play with these fine margins in these cars. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it's just so touch and go. Look at the way Sam's car is limping back. He's going to try and get it back and repaired. I think Roman was still out there. He's just jumped to the pits now. Look at the steering on this car. Not sure what happened to Duncan in the hairpin. Does he brake late? Oh! He does brake late. He makes an absolute send on Corpus. He's made some great moves and not so great moves as Duncan Murray. But yeah, that crash was spectacular. Should we have another play? I'm not sure how far back to go. This is what it looks like from above. Do you know what? I don't know if I can put that on Dan, to be honest. And look at this, just poor Roman. Poor Roman. Don't know what to say. So many collectees. Corpus is in the pits as well from the damage. We had a number of drivers in the pits. We've had Corpus, Van Olst, Parfitt, Mould, Peschke, all in the pits as a result of crashes. I think Mould's going to sit the rest of the race out. He's not going to go out there by the looks of it and get any more. Try and claim those extra points. Jan Weiswanger's near the back somewhere as well in 24th. He's 10 seconds back. Haven't seen him involved in a crash. We'll be waiting for more places to pick off on his way up. Jake Cranston, though, leads the way 0.8 of a second from King and Bailiff, who might find themselves under pressure. Bailiff is a nice buffer for Stephen King there. Let's not forget, before this round, Jake Cranston was leading the championship by 2 points from Stephen King. Austin Farr being in third It was 108 points for Jake Cranston, 106 points for Stephen King, and 101 points for Austin Farr. Those were your top 3 coming into Okayama. As it's looking, look at it. You see how close these two got then in the 2 Audis? Oh, Draper is playing with fire there as he cuts across Stefan Scheller's nose into the braking zone. The Team Husingveld car currently doing 138. Fastest man out on track though. Fastest lap goes to Kieran Dempsey with a 138.4. They're not splitting up. Jake Cranston is not getting away from this. Stefan Scheller trying to find places to get past as Mats Borg Andersen looks to send it down the inside of Austin Farr into the hairpin. Gets the move done. Morgan Burkhardt's going to come through as well by the looks of it and gain 2 places. And there is contact with the Audis up ahead. And now they're all going to come flying through because Mats Borg Andersen and Austin Farr go up the inside of Mark Draper and gain 2, loses 2 places, 3 places and more as they rub doors down towards the hairpin. Stefan Scheller goes to defend. Great touring car stuff as they all start rubbing doors. Down they go. Kieran Dempsey's trying to come through, but Stefan Scheller still holds on to P4. Mats Borg Andersen, the big winner of all of that. And Morgan Burkhardt has somehow carved his way through as well. They're all tripping over each other, and last year's champion is absolutely laughing as he picks his way through. He's back up into the top 6, and this is more like the round that Morgan wanted. Compared to last week, he will be absolutely buzzing so far. It's lap 5 of 9, and he's back up into the top 6. Let's hope he can stay there to reignite his championship chances. But Stefan Scheller and Mark Draper having a big old tangle there in that section. Draper coming off a lot worse, it seems, as a result of that. I've got a feeling, I haven't seen many drive-throughs today, so I've got a feeling these are all going to be left to discussions in the stewards' room throughout the week. Morgan Burkhardt brakes as late as he dares, trying to get the best run as he can on that Honda on the exit of turn 4. And I've got a feeling we might have a look at this, to be honest. He does. He moves out of the slipstream. Oh, he gets so close. But I think Mats is going to keep the inside of the next corner. Morgan tries to hold it around the outside. His car is ahead. He's entitled to room as they lean on each other through 7. Morgan Burkhardt around the outside of 7. Mats loses his rear a little bit, and Austin Farr's going to come through. Mark Draper slides his Audi around that corner back there, and Ika Lequay comes through as well in the distance. Austin Farr, Mats Andersen side by side in the Hondas, still fighting it out. Morgan Burkhardt is through. Stefan Scheller is next on his list. He's up into P5 as last year's champion, and Austin Farr does gain that position on Mats Borg Andersen as well. Kieran Dempsey sitting pretty, and he's got Arthur Thurtle for company. The biggest gainer so far is Fabian Siegman in the Husingveld Hyundai. He's up 13 positions. Up 8 positions each is Brandon Hughes and Stephen Fry back here in 19th and 20th. Up from the back, also up 8 positions, is Henry Morse, who's on the back of this train and might be gaining more positions as the race goes on. He's got Carl Ridley there in the Goldwing Hyundai. Eric Mannenfeld, his teammate, up the road with his Lozano sponsored Street Casuals car and with a Waffle House sponsorship on top as well. I suppose we better mention those guys. Jesus Amundere there in P17 with Dan Thornton for company in P18. It's been a quiet day. We haven't mentioned Joe Gibson that much, I don't think, throughout these races. So let's give him a shout out because he's having a better race of it this time round as he was in Phillip Island, as he nearly anchored on the brakes to try and get a move done on Sigmund. Amundere is either blinking or he's losing places. No, he's losing places. He's off the circuit, is Jesus Amundere in the Meatball Audi. I think he might lose another one. Is he vulnerable to Stephen Fry, his teammate back there? Austin Farr and Anderson still fighting it out. Anderson trying to get the switch back in towards turn 7. These guys not holding back anymore. Oh, contact there from Dempsey behind, flashing his lights. And now, oh, look, Mats Borg Andersen slowing down for some reason. I wonder if he had a slowdown on one. He would have cut that corner too much. He did have a slowdown. So Mats Borg Andersen losing a number of places. He cut turn 6 too much. Kieran Dempsey was probably flashing his lights in frustration as Arthur Thurtle tries to get his car around the outside of that second to last turn. Can't do it. Austin Farr's got some breathing space now in that Honda in P6. But Morgan Burkhardt too far up the road, I think, as he is looking to challenge Stefan Scheller in P4 in the Team Husingveld car. Christoph says Mr. Farr gaining as always. A big Street Casuals fan as Christoph plays. interacting on Twitter all the time, I see. But these two, this fight not over yet. I've got a feeling Bailiff and King will hold position, to be honest. Bailiff might start pushing King to try and get closer, but 1.8 second gap will be hard to close in the next 3 laps. But this fight here is not over, and you've also got the train behind Dempsey not over as well. So lap 7 of 9 of this final race today. Morgan Burkhardt has a quick show of the nose. Doesn't quite commit to it this time as Mats Borg Andersen is making moves behind as well. Down the inside of Manenveld. Down the inside of Thurtle as well. Misses his apex. Makes contact with Kyle. Manenveld comes back through. Thurtle comes back through with an amazing switchback, and now Mats Borg Andersen is on the outside of the next corner. Ridley's going to follow Thurtle through and try and get a better run on the exit. Oh, it's tight through there. Thurtle shuts the door, moves straight to the inside, but he hasn't covered off the whole corner. Mats Borg Andersen shows his nose, doesn't quite get as late on the brakes as he dares. Kyle Ridley around the outside. Is he going to get that move done? Oh, no, can't quite get it down the inside. Henry Morse is just waiting for Australian netcode things to happen, but it doesn't look like they are for the Australian driver. So far, so good, but this battle is not letting up just yet. Morgan Burkhardt still behind Stefan Scheller. Dempsey still behind Austin Farr, but is closer now, so he'll be looking to try and gain P6. But this train all the way back down to Gibson and Draper, actually, who are just about to fight it out into turn 1. In fact, every time we click down, there's fights going on. Everyone's still pretty much in the same section of track, which is good to see, other than those involved in the earlier incidents. Looks like Mats has lost his cool, says Andre. Andre being the driver of that car last season. They have swapped cars. I mean, there's just cars everywhere, isn't there? I think once a slowdown happens, it's always frustrating. But just a feisty racer is Mats. He always has been, in terms of not losing his cool, but in terms of fighting tooth and nail. It's always good to see as Morgan looks to the outside of the hairpin. A rare move, can't quite get it done. Austin Farr and Dempsey were also side by side. Not anymore. And Burkhardt is actually still on the inside of Scheller now, down towards the hairpin. So he did get it done through 6 and 7 as we cut away from it. But can he hold it? I think he's done it. Morgan Burkhardt is up into P4. Stefan Scheller down to P5. But that will not be done just yet as they go on towards lap 9. We're about to go on to our final lap. The white flag should be out this time as Jake Cranston now heads towards the line. He's just about to cross it now. And there we go. Final lap ticks over on the top left of the board. You can just see King and Bailiff there in the forefront of your shot. They've just gone out of view. Burkhardt, Scheller, Farr and Dempsey closing in on each other. This will be a 4-way fight for P4 if they get much closer. But I've got a feeling Morgan's going to pull away a little bit. And then Manenveld, the other cork in the bottle back here, has got Thurtle, Andersen, Ridley, Morse, Lecquay. Not Lecquay, there's Lecquay. Pretty much all that train behind him. I like his helmet there at the bottom of the screen. Orange. Dutch flag. 99 on the side. Lozano sponsorship. Very much a Street Casuals helmet. That is the sign of a based driver. The racing line being... Oh, I'll tell you what. Just remembered. I have this. Vote driver of the day. And here's your link. That link should go to all 4 channels, and it has done. It is successfully posted. If you click on that link, you will see the list of all 30 drivers. You only get 1 vote. Vote carefully. Someone who deserves it. Who is your driver of the day so far? We're on the final lap here at Okayama for round 2, race 6. I have no idea what the championship is going to look like after this, and so far this is your leading man for race 3. It's Jake Cranston, 2.5 seconds in the lead, and behind him you can see the gap. This is what it looks like. Jake Cranston's going to come across the line. They're all flashing their lights. It is Cranston in P1. You then got Stephen King and John Bailiff crossing in P2. For some reason, King let Bailiff have P2 there. That was weird. Because King was higher up in the championship, and that's a 5-point loss that he's just taken, but it is what it is. Morgan Burkhardt in P4. And Stefan Scheller in P5. Austin Farr made it up to the top 6 in the end. Kieran Dempsey on his debut up in the top 7, his first round of the season. Missed out Phillip Island, but he comes back strong, making it 3 Pulsar cars in the top 7. But Mannintveld, look, Street Casuals had a good third race as well. Austin Farr, P6. Mannintveld, P8. And Henry Morse did make it to the top 12 in the end. Up 15 places was Fabian Siegmann in the Husingveld Hyundai. Dan Mole did come back out in the end to try and get some points. He finished 28th, so he will get some points indeed. I don't think it is a 5-point drop for King, actually, but it's like 3. I'm sure it's a 3-point drop. Considering he was only 2 points behind Cranston coming into this race, you would argue that those 3 points were important. But Jake Cranston very much wins. Greeting from a few members of Bulgarian Race World crew, says Mr. Oh, he's handbraking, he's drifting, is Jake Cranston. Trying to. I've forgotten which view. There's a view somewhere. There it is. There we go. Right, anyway, let's have a look at the results. Let's have a look at the interview room. Let's get our interviews done. He is going to try and do donuts, is Jake here. Front wheel drive, of course, so it's got to be done in reverse. And he's done. he's had enough. There he goes. Right. Results. That is the Honda results. We don't want to see that. We want to see the full results of race 3. There they are. Cranston, Bailiff, King, Burkhard, Scheller, Farr, Dempsey, Mannintveld, Thurtle, and Mats Anderson. Let's go to Discord and pull someone in. Let me know. The music volume is always hard to gauge. I want you to be able to hear it, but also hear us. Discord. Let's have a look. Anyone in the interview waiting room? No. Let's speak to... there's one. I see Zippy, the Wonder Slug, as he's known in Discord for whatever reason. But let's bring him in. It's Morgan Burkhard. He has won a race today. Bit better than last time out at Phillip Island, Morgan. Let us know what you are thinking. How did it go?
Yeah, for sure. Better than Phillip Island. It was, yeah, just a kind of unfortunate incident in race 1, and then it's just more and more unfortunate incidents after that, and it was very difficult to come back. But this one started off well. Race one by 5 seconds or something like that, and then race 2 was another incident with Fabian into the hairpin. A kind of a similar thing, but we'll see what happens. And after that, I was just kind of poke through the field and see where I can get, and ended up with the first, a second, and a fourth. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Yeah, definitely a stronger round for sure. We saw the Fabian incident, watched it back a couple of times live. It's hard to say, and I'm not giving people ammunition for their for their arguments in the stewards room, of course. But from what we saw in the little time that we could see it live, it looked like typical Okayama miscommunication in terms of a double move, perhaps, from the Husingveld car in this situation. Similar crash to Phillip Island, but Phillip Island was more, I think the car was always going to be there. This one looked like, from what I saw briefly, it looked like the Husingveld car moved left. You then committed to the right, but then the Husingveld car moved back to the right. I don't know if that's what it was like from your point of view. That's what we saw. I don't know what Stephen saw in terms of the stewards room, so we'll see what happens with that. But
in terms of the racing, like you said, 3 top 5s basically today, and it looks fairly strong. Does your championship start from now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my goal after last week was to kind of just drop kick everybody into the next century. Not literally, but figuratively, and kind of just run away from it from here. I got about 70-point gap to make up. So, yeah, from here, it's just head down, keep pushing, and then we'll get there eventually.
Of course. Well, thank you for speaking with us once again, RLTC champion Morgan Burkhardt. Is there anyone before I let you go that you want to say hello or thank you to?
Definitely my parents for making all this possible, and my grandparents for making my parents possible, and the rest of the team with Jake and James. Congratulations to Jake for getting a win today. I know he needed that after not having a great race 1. So yeah, happy for both of them today.
Of course. Thank you very much, Morgan. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
There he goes, the All Sports Racing champion, Morgan Burkhardt. Always great to speak to him, and shouting out generational shout outs this time, not just parents but grandparents. Always nice to hear. Let's grab who shall we grab? Let's talk to Jonathan Bailiff. He finished P2 in race 3 in the end, is what it showed on our screens. Mr. Bailiff, can you talk us through what happened in race 3?
Well, it's a decent start. I'd struggled in the first 2 races getting it off the line. It just felt like the Hyundai was bogging down, and then just sticking behind Stevie, and then I'm not quite sure why Stevie was backing off at the end. That's maybe for a team photo, and I just didn't realise I didn't back off enough. So I feel a bit bad for that. But double podium.
Well, if he loses the championship by 3 points, we can look back at this moment.
and you can fire me from the team.
Yeah, we'll see. Do you know what? I'm going to vote driver of the day. Oh, I can't. It won't let me. I was going to vote you for driver of the day. As I try and find, how can I find the results of this? Anyway, so your race 3 was eventful because you just sat behind Steven for most of it and then got the P2. Was there any moment where you thought in your rearview mirror, were the others going to catch you, or?
Well, it was looking close the first couple of laps, but then there was some issue in some of the hairpins with Draper and somebody else behind, which then gave us a gap that I could then just sit there and follow, or I thought I was going to follow him home. So that was quite nice. It was less stressful than the other races.
That's good to hear. It's actually we've got a 3-way tie for driver of the day at the moment between Burkhardt, Thornton and Van Olst. Do you have a vote out of those 3?
It's difficult to say, having not seen any of the racing.
You were there.
But I was concentrating on myself. Maybe
selfish,
Sam
John. That is.
I know, but did Sam get P4 in the second race?
Do you know what? I was watching it and I couldn't tell you.
I think he had a pretty good race in the second race and started around where I did.
Yeah.
So I'd go with Sam.
He did have a good race, and I can see that he's muted and deafened at the moment, so I might bring him into the interview room.
I think it's gone for food.
As he's disappeared off.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us, and well done on your P2. Is there anyone before I let you go that you want to say hello or thank you to?
Just some family and friends who are watching. Thanks for the support. Much appreciated.
No worries. Thank you, John. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, Jack.
There goes Jonathan Bailiff. I wonder if I refresh this driver of the day thing. It hasn't changed yet. If anything, someone's just added an extra vote to someone else. Let's speak to... We've already spoke to Morgan. Sam Van Olst is not there. One more interview. This is always a tough decision. I suppose we should speak to Jake, actually. He is in there. I can see him. Yeah, let's drag him up. He was in the interview room a second ago. Jake Cranston also wanting a race today. How was it? How was it today?
Pretty awful.
Awful. With a
it was
race
not
3
great.
win. It was up and down, but I think it's going to be like that for the season. Everyone seems to be having an issue at some point throughout the weekend, and then they've got to climb their way back up.
I mean, quickly looking at the standings before penalties and stuff, I'm second by 2 points somehow after that round. I don't know how.
Who's in the lead?
Steven. Mr.
What?
Keith. Yeah.
No way.
2 points ahead of me.
And he'll be, well, do you know what happened at the end between those two?
Was it team orders?
No. It wasn't from me. It wasn't from me, but that 2
It
point
wasn't
lead should be...
multi-20 John, was it?
No, that 2 point lead should be a 5 point lead, I think, but it is what it is. No, but you said obviously it was an up and down. It never feels great when there's incidents that knock you down the grid, but you're never one to give up, and you've always sort of tried racing your way back through. And I think even the race where the biggest incident was, you ended up sort of getting back up into the top 15, was it, or maybe even higher than that, and then putting yourself in a good position to obviously win race 3. So, what can you say anything to any drivers? Is there any drivers that you want to say? I don't think we've seen this actually, but is there any drivers that you think would just give up in that case, or does it take something special to go back out there and keep your head in the game, or just help me out here?
I don't know. It's just some of the driving standards were not fun in that middle pack. I don't know what it was, if it was just the track or people were just getting a bit hot-headed. But I mean, I even did it myself in race 2. You saw I hit. I don't know if you saw it, but I hit Steven. Felt really bad. Obviously, I let him back through straight away. But yeah, it was just a lot of contact, a lot of unnecessary contact. Driver at the front taking out 3 cars in race 1 and then not getting a penalty. I don't really get that, but yeah.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. I know I'm going to have to watch a load of crashes this week, I think. This is why I don't like Okayama, but you all voted for it, so it is what it is.
It was the best of a bad bunch.
The best of what? Twin Ring Motegi was on there. How dare you?
I don't like that one.
Even the East layout.
No, it'd be better with the full layout.
Oh no, that's what's I don't know.
You
what
got
to
2
do.
more overtaking zones there.
Oh, what's that radio segment that used to be on Radio 1? An unpopular opinion or something. I can't remember what it was called, but that's what that was. Who likes the full layout of Twin Ring Motegi? No one. Jake.
Or just do the oval.
Well, I'd rather that. To be honest. Anyway, congratulations on your race win and holding on to the top 2 spots potentially. Is there anyone before I let you go that you want to say hello or thank you to?
Yeah, well, thank you to the All Sports guys. Morgan and James helping each other out before the races with telemetry and stuff. Thank you to Ali and Dave and Ellen, my mum, dad, and I think my colleagues at Silver Tiger might be watching. I don't know, but thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it.
Perfect. Thank you, Jake. We'll speak to you soon.
Cheers.
There goes Jake Cranston for All Sports Racing. Race winner, Jake Cranston, of course. Andre says, TCRs are mature enough to handle full Motegi. Duncan Murray says, thanks for great racing. Sam Bernal says, I'm eating spaghetti, yum, yum. And let's announce Morgan Burkhardt as the driver of the day for getting those top results in all 3 races. Well done to that man. So, that is pretty much it here for the Racing Line Touring Car Championship today. Round 2 is over. Round 3 is next week. Let me confirm that. I feel like it is next week. It is next week. Interlagos. I will see you all next week for Brazil. And then we'll take a week break after that. So next week, 8 o'clock UK time for Brazil, the Racing Line Touring Car Championship round 3. All the penalties will be dealt with by then. I'll give you an update on the standings, blah, 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 blah. As usual, that is pretty much it from me. If I don't see you on track this week, then I'll see you next week for the next video here on the Racing Line. Peace. Oh, do you know what? Forgot to say, subscribe to the channel, guys and girls, whilst I'm still here. Whilst the music is waiting to drop in. If anyone is still watching the stream at this point, don't know why you're here. This is like one of them outros where people just hang around for the after credits waiting for the post-credits scene. I don't have any post-credits scene. Go now, guys. Thank you for watching. PCO eSports, Racing Live, YouTube, Twitch, all of that, all 4 channels. Good fun. See you next week on the stream. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the Racing Line channel. Follow us on Twitter as well for updates. Go to racingline.org to see any pictures from PCO eSports. Yeah, so let's see you on track this week and see you next week. The next video here on Racing Line. Peace!